Today I have Tay Othman on the show, and just going to talk about many things related to pyRevit, Revit API, and his journey. So welcome on the pod, Tay. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, Eric. How are you?
I'm good. And you?
Better than what I deserve.
Dave frames the vibes.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, Tay, could you introduce yourself to my audience? What do you do? And, well, what we should know about you?
Yeah. So I am an architect, a senior project architect right now, and working in San Francisco, California. And I'm originally from Iraq. I moved to the United States in 2010. But actually, I started with the Revit much earlier. So I graduated architecture degree over there, and I moved to the United States 2010 again. And then because of Revit, I think that time, 2010 was the bottom, the rock bottom of the financial crisis that hit the United States. And when I moved actually to California, I couldn't see a single crane. There's like the construction industry for 2 years were stagnant. And it was like if you go and search for job openings, there's none for architects pretty much that time. So stumbled on an opening for a Revit specialist. At that time, it's actually when I moved to the United States. 20 days later, I got the Revit certified professional for Revit 2010.
Nice.
And that helped me actually getting a job with a very big company. Probably a lot of architects know it's Gensler. And I worked there for 5 years. And then I worked locally in a company for 9 years after that called DES. And now I'm with Boulder Associates doing healthcare architecture, medical office buildings, hospitals, clinics, imaging, surgery centers, all of that. And then active on the pyRevit community. Now, from the background, you can tell you that I'm actually relatively new to the Revit API world. I started with Dynamo maybe 10 years ago, but with them, I'm 20 plus years. So I started with Revit in 2005.
Oh, that's such a long journey. But so much to unpack here. So first of all, when you kind of got your job here, not here, but in the United States, how good were you at Revit already? You mentioned you got certification,
yes.
but you were already very solid at Revit, right?
Yeah. I was really solid at Revit. My biggest challenge was switching from metric to imperial system. That was probably the hard part.
Yeah. I can't imagine it.
I'm working with my team member now, and he has like a converter. He's from India and has a converter between. I told him like forget about it. Just reframe your mind around imperial system. It's not perfect. It's probably a step backward for humanity, but you need to keep going. And the only good thing about imperial system, it matches the Revit internal units.
Yeah, probably it ends here, right? I always looked at the metric like I have no idea what's going on. I kind of get it now because I saw it way too often, but I'm like I don't want to touch it.
That's where I'm actually. So I worked. It's potentially vibe coded for WPF, but I'm planning to have one calculator. It's probably a pyRevit extension. That's actually you can do metric and imperial calculations, like mathematical operations at the same time. So you can have a 2-meter wall plus 5/8 of an inch for the jib board, and it will give you the total, and you can pick which unit you want the output in.
Yeah, might help some people for sure.
Try to unify the world together.
Yeah, that's the goal of pyRevit in general, I guess.
Especially, I want to talk about politics, but we better, the United States needs to be better, to our European friends, and it's not happening recently. So my goal is to fix it.
I see. We'll start with calculator, then politics. Anyway,
Yes.
let's jump back to Revit. So 2006, it was such early Revit experience. Yeah, even 5. Like, what was Revit back then? Because I joined way later, a decade later.
So I want to say Revit was such a great tool by then.
But
the
back
only
then
difference
already?
the only difference is there is no ribbon. So I started with Revit 7, and it's called Revit 7. At that time, it wasn't included. I think out of that time, Autodesk didn't unify the numbering of the versions. And at that time, there's like Revit building, Revit systems, and Revit structure. I think there's 3 versions of Revit. It's not like one Revit.
Oh, like separate apps.
Separate apps. And I think they unified it in like 2009.
Okay.
And it was toolbars, so there's no ribbon. Toolbars, but it's the same status bar, the same, the scale in the bottom, same user interface, same project browser, and same as the properties panel. So it used to be like that. It was great. I had my own complaints about it at that time because you can't do slanted walls. And I started getting excited about it just because I came before I was a student. Before getting into Revit, I was in AutoCAD. It's called Architectural Desktop, which is the AutoCAD architecture now. It has the AEC objects, which at that point you build a wall like a Revit wall and generates a 3-dimensional of it. My biggest concern at that time with AutoCAD architecture, and it's probably still valid, that you can't do solid operations like booleans, subtract, add, subtract on between AEC object and a standard AutoCAD mass, like a standard solid. So when I saw Revit, the promise was, and this is the super exciting moment for me. 2 things really caught me is bridging the gap between conceptualization and documentation. And most of us at that time were doing things in 3D Studio Max, get the concept, and then start working in AutoCAD, right? In 2D. And until now, AutoCAD operations to convert a 3D object into 2D, like flattening, it's not good. So it's actually you need to work in 2D. AutoCAD, you can't work in 3D and slicing through objects. It's not ideal. Also, the other topic that really caught me is think the way you think. So instead of thinking about massing and geometry, it thinks about walls, kernel walls, doors, like actual building elements. And probably the most important one, which is really relevant to what we're talking about today, is building as a database. And thinking the BIM is the building as a database. You can have the manufacturers, the designers, fabricators, contractors, engineers all together dealing with building elements that have parameters, and each parameter is an element itself. And that database really was fascinating to me. The only problem is Autodesk since then they didn't expose anything with that database. I think they added something called Revit DB connection, which I think Ideate took advantage of it and generate the BIM link and Ideate Explorer. And
it's like a quick export to DB or something, but I never saw it really took off.
Yeah, 2008. So I got into 2005. By 2007, I lost interest in Revit. I found like this thing is, very limited. Then Ideate came with their tools and really got me excited again. And then 2 years later, I got into 2013. I got early preview. Autodesk at that time when I was with Gensler, they gave us an early preview about 2 products, one called Project Vasari and the other one called Project Dynamo. And when I saw that, Vasari was an Autodesk take on SketchUp within a Revit UI application. So it's Revit, it's smaller, but you only see is the conceptual massing model. And I thought that's great. And when I saw Dynamo, this is Autodesk take on Grasshopper. I said, this is awesome. At that time, I remember all of the team were talking to Autodesk and we asked, can we fix the issue where we have a family document and a project document and we can't really transfer geometries in between? And they said they're going to fix it. And it's not fixed yet. And now by understanding how the Revit API is structured, it's really hard job. It's not easy to bridge, if you think of the, docs are not exactly like between a family document and like a Revit project. So
there's also, it runs on so much legacy code. So I don't think they are always in so much control unless there's like a lot of resources involved.
Yes, totally. I actually decided to learn Revit API in 2009. So, and 2009.
That was before Dynamo or after Dynamo?
Before Dynamo.
Before Dynamo. All
before
right.
Dynamo. And it was an AU workshop. I think it's 3 hours long. And they said, build your first plugin for Revit. And I said, I'm going to do it. So before
All
that,
right.
I'm before that, I'm okay with coding. I think I have similar path to Ehsan and Jean-Marc Coffin when it comes. We started with basic, and I started basic when in elementary school. So 10, but by age of 10, I was coding in basic, and
Mm-hmm.
in in high school we started a language called Pascal. I think it's already
Mm-hmm.
disappeared. That language. It's
Probably.
Pascal. You need to
Everyone
declare
mentions it
variables.
as.
You need to declare your variables before you start your script.
Mm-hmm.
Basic is more like high level, very similar to Python. You declare variables on assignment, and it's just amazing. And I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
most people who start with basic actually really like the Python. But then
I
basic, I
noticed there
started.
are two camps. People think very different. I also used to think that everyone was gonna love Python. Some people actually hate Python, prefer this kind of defining variables on top because they
Right,
maybe like extra structure. It's definitely less beginner friendly to begin with, but
right.
there are benefits, I think.
I'm slightly okay with C sharp. I feel C sharp is very similar to the Pascal, which I didn't like in high school. I was good at
Mm-hmm.
it. In college, I switched only to MaxScript and Lisp and became like a scripter. So didn't really get into any of the development. When I got into the Revit API, um,
Mm-hmm.
2009, two things. First, it was an AU workshop online available and it's free. And when when it's free, you save it on your desktop. I say I'll come back to it later, and it's on my desktop for 10 years. The second thing, I
Yeah.
started the video and it said, well, you can use Visual Basic or C Sharp at that point. We don't have we didn't have the Revit Python shell at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I said, well, cool. I know GW Basic or Quick Basic. Visual Basic is just the the .NET version of it. It was like the object-oriented version of it. But it was completely different. I wasn't expecting, Visual Basic was completely different from the Basic I know. So that was a smoke screen. I said, like, maybe I need to come back to it. I didn't really take the first step, and I regret that. So
So
when
during this 3 hour presentation, you actually didn't finish it as well, or
I think I still have it in my.
the day is still to
I have,
come.
so every year I put like things to learn, and I put a folder and put a bunch of videos, and by end of the year nothing is done, so I move it to the next year. So I have it in my learning.
Library
I think
grows.
if I search for it, probably I'll find it somewhere. It has the handouts, it has a PowerPoint presentation, a bunch of videos. I think also project files. But I think it's irrelevant right now. Well, maybe not that much, but it is. So
Okay, so this was in 2009 when you kind of almost started, but something pushed you away.
right.
And then you discovered Dynamo in a few years, right?
Yes. So Dynamo, I started with it in 2014. First, I think it was pre-release. 2015, I was in AU, and it was only about Dynamo. Everybody was talking about Dynamo. Dynamo was the big hot item, which is unfortunately it's being pushed in the background. But so I got into Dynamo, and at that point, still like packages were limited, and it was version 1.1 and 1.2. So you don't have that compatibility issues that you're running into it right now. And I decided I'm gonna learn it, and I spent I think the New Year's Eve 2004 2005. My friends were hanging out partying, and I decided I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna learn it. And I think in a few hours, it's just that first step, breaking the smoke barrier and saying I'm gonna do it and just get in there. It's the most important aha moment. And
Yeah, your first win, right?
right, otherwise, if you just said I wanna learn it one day, that day won't happen, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
So I started with Dynamo, and this is where I got into the Python node, pretty much. But it was very linear, no functions, no classes, and it's pretty much automated, getting a quick access to the, like this, creating the sheet list or revisions on sheet. and just reporting the sheets with this revision on it and getting a
Mm-hmm.
list. It was very basic implementation until I think 2008, 2017. I wasn't in that AU, and my coworker at that time, Jessica, she told me, "Have you heard about pyRevit?" And I said, "No, but is it like Revit Python shell?" She said, "No, I think it's better." I said, "Does it mean I can do a full toolbar with it?" She said, "Yes." But also, I didn't look carefully. My misconception was pyRevit is like interpreter on top of a Visual Studio, where you can actually write in Python and compile an add-in like a DLL. And that was something that I should have looked earlier into it, because I could have been probably 3, 4, 5 years earlier in that journey. Then so I downloaded pyRevit. I like the tools, and also I kept it waiting. And at that point, I was like Grasshopper, doing more like computation design, Ladybug, environmental things, until 2021, 2022. It's end of 2020, 2022, and I was looking at the extensions, and I think I was looking at your extensions actually. I think you have one in 2022. I think the first installment. And I discovered this toolbar that really changed my life. It's by Jean-Marc Coffin, and it's called pyRevit Bundle Creator. And when I got it, and it's probably nobody thought about it, in 5 minutes I have a toolbar, because it's really create the buttons for you. And that toolbar that I create, it's all URL buttons. But hey, it is I now understand what is pyRevit. And looking at the folder structure of the anatomy of the pyRevit extension, and then it's like, I get it. This thing is super cool. And I think once I started, maybe 6 months later, ChatGPT showed up, and it's just like perfect timing, where you start getting into exploring with the API ambiguity.
You get lucky with that one.
And I think I started seeing your first initial videos, the videos without beard, like the initial, right? But I think the first tool actually I wrote, I had to go to Revit API docs. It's the you click and it will take the hub ID and the project ID and generate a URL where you can go to the ACC Forma, and now it's called Forma, the BIM 360 link of your project. So sometimes you publish a model and you need to create a package. Instead of going to the browser and navigate to your project, you click once in your Revit, it will take you to that page directly. So, and it's funny that like last year, somebody from HOK emailed me and he wants to do the same with desktop connector. You click on it, it will open the folder structure of the desktop connect, like Autodesk desktop connector of your project, that the active Revit document. And I think we did it. Fortunately, pyRevit has the desktop connector. Jean-Marc Coffin called me the ADC expert in this, so that's my niche.
Good.
Yeah,
that's your niche. Good. I'm the opposite. I haven't really used all this Forma, B360, and so on.
It's I think every time you do things, you fix you push a PR update. Next day, Autodesk will push an update. It will break your work. You need to do it again.
I see. All right, so let's just kind of unwrap it a little bit. So, while moving from Dynamo to pyRevit, what was the main reason for this kind of shift? First of all, for you.
So my approach to Dynamo, every even when I'm in Python, I always treat it as a freelance tool. You're like one lone wolf in your firm, and if somebody want to do a specific task, they reach out to you. You open your project and do the task for them and build their projects, and they will say thank you. That's not an enterprise product. And the same, I would say the same is actually applies to Grasshopper. Like it's not, these tools are designed with freelancer in mind. It's just one person.
Or like power user as well within the company.
Yeah, there's a tool by Mustafa called Orchestra. That's actually you deploy. It's cloud based, so you put your company's Dynamo scripts alongside their packages, and let their users double click on it, and it will load Dynamo in the background and run the tool, and it will bring the packages. So it fixed the compatibility. The issue with Dynamo is it's slow. It's it's a wrapper after a wrapper after a wrapper. So you need to wait for Dynamo to run in the background to execute things. The only advantage I would say for Dynamo is it has its own geometric engine, so you can do like
That's really good.
intersections, cutting geometries. But I think also with pyRevit is just a plug and play. It's a enterprise product. The CLI is amazing, and you can deploy it to whole company. And it's also I want to say you work on the script, hit save, and click on it, and you don't need to compile anything. I did some fixes on the new C# loader, which made me appreciate the pyRevit engine itself, because really you need to close Revit, close your project, do the edits, compile the DLLs, put them in the release folder, and then restart your Revit, and then it's a lot of work. So
also about that, I keep hearing there is this hot reload or something like this, the feature, so you kind of don't have to restart Revit, but people say oftentimes you still do. Have you tried using it?
You mean the rocket mode?
No, not in pyRevit. When you create the DLLs for kind of Revit add-ins, there's like a feature like hot reload or something.
I don't know, because when I try to push the DLL, it will tell me I can't. Like the Visual Studio doesn't tell me. Maybe there is a tool that maybe I need to put in the debug folder, but the problem is the DLLs that I need to replace, especially for the loader, are actually in use, so I can't replace these DLLs once they're. But that's probably only applies to the C# loader. If you want to do a different.
Yeah, just a question. I thought that maybe you tried it, because I keep getting this argument like, you can use C# without reloading Revit, but at the same time, some people say, yeah, but it doesn't always work. I thought maybe you know about it.
Actually, you can run C# in pyRevit in a button. So for people who want to prototype something for a bigger plugin, they can still use pyRevit for it.
Yeah. Not many know. I haven't heard anyone really use that, but I know it's an option.
I know somebody in the forums actually was talking about it, and we were.
Nice.
He said, "I use it. I only know C#. I don't need to learn Python, and I'm using pyRevit now for book prototyping."
Yeah, for prototyping, actually, yeah, that's a sound idea.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, and once you discovered pyRevit, start moving into what was your first tool that gave you this aha moment about pyRevit?
I think it was. So it was that quick link, open a web browser. So it's just I import the web browser and I get from the document I get the GitHub So since then I started doing smaller, and this is the beauty of pyRevit. You don't need to write a major code. It's a 10-minute code snippets that actually can work for you. Like quickly creating an Exxon for a room. I think we were working on a project and I immediately did. Or I had one tool that's actually you just select a bunch of wall, click on it to give you the total length. This is great if you want it. If you quickly want, instead of creating a schedule, you need to know how much linear footage or distance of specific wall selected, and you get quick area, quick volume. It's totally a great tool. I think the best one is also quickly applying view filters to view templates. That's one of the early tools that I created. But everything I was only working low key, and something I discovered when I started searching for API questions, that there is the pyRevit forum. start becoming active. I think it was started around COVID. Before that, the only sources of Revit API were the Building Coder or the Dynamo forum. And now we have the pyRevit forum, and we started getting some cool ideas over there. So I started becoming a little bit more active on the forum, but without major contributions. And things changed in 2024 when they announced the hackathon. I don't know if you remember that one. So they announced the hackathon, and only 3 of us joined. But I think it was for the pre-flight check.
I remember. I think that was the bottleneck, because many people didn't understand it fully, how to make it for that.
So I did the 10-mile radar on it, and a bunch of people, like one did the CAD audit, which is also, I think it's really cool. And so like three of them, they got it. And I think what's brilliant about that hackathon is although 3 of us, it gave us a level of comfort that, hey, you're welcome here. So every participant needs to do a PR against, the develop branch. And I think it was the develop 4, because I think they're still working on develop 5, which is the pyRevit 5. I think the pre-flight check was against a pyRevit 4. And this is my first, not just PR, but also Jean-Marc and the cousins, Andrea and forgot what's his name, Bichev. They really shredded us. And because I was coming from a Dynamo, all my imports were CRL, and import Revit.db. I'm also using the os.path utilities instead of pathlib, which is I think it's probably a little bit more structured within pyRevit.
It has its benefits.
I had no Python enhancement protocol, PEP 8. It was just every conditional statement was like 160 lines of or like a row of of characters. So it was very undisciplined. But they started giving me reviews, and I started doing commits to update. And maybe after going back and forth for a month, I started feeling I'm very comfortable dealing with those people. So and I felt that I'm really welcomed in that group, which is that encouraged me now. Return back to the office, and every day somebody complained about, this tool, like I think that one of them is there's one broken. It's the I think it was the inspect. Find tag all untagged, or find the untagged objects. It was throwing an exception. So I think it was just a syntax error. Maybe I think it was the migration to the new .NET. One of them is like the way it's handled Revit element. That was like a single line of fix, and I went and pushed another PR, and Jean-Marc immediately replied like, "Hey, keep this going." So at that point, I started like doing every time something doesn't look okay, I just go and participate in that community, and
that's great.
The rest is history.
No, that's really good. They also need like more people to kind of chime in and like help with these PRs. So because there are lots of these little issues, like there's like new API comes in, like one property instead. For example, recently they introduced this change to element IDs. Now we cannot provide number; it has to be integer 64. Super annoying change. It's just kind of adding like 3 letters and parentheses.
Right.
But it's just so annoying that we have to do it, and this really helps what I see.
Yes.
I wanted to dive into pyRevit, like to help with the code a little bit here and there for so long, but I never found time. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna keep doing my YouTube videos, just direct people to pyRevit, and that's gonna be my thing. I'm not really.
No, I think what you're doing is, we don't have any voice for this community. I mean, the people I looked into this maybe a year ago. The amount of people who actually contributed code to the pyRevit repo is only 85 people. This
still a solid number.
Yeah, it's a solid number, but it's 85. It's less than 100, and I would say still I think most of the code came from Hassan. But I think we got the new Roman Golev. I think he's doing the C# loader. I think
Oh
he's
yeah,
just,
yeah. Huge shout out to him for that one.
yes, he did. He did. Also, in the middle of nowhere, we started getting people. I don't know their names. I can't even spell their names. They don't have pictures. They don't have faces, and they started doing all these amazing PRs. It's just like this community is about to be a different level. It's
Yeah.
I mean, I think Jean-Marc told us like, hey, there are issues like 91. Can we push them a little bit to be lower? So if you find things that are fixable, and I think we managed to get it down to 60. Now I think they're back to 71. I need to jump in back, but it's definitely an amazing community, and it's a small community.
Oh,
And if you
yes.
think about it, the money raised for pyRevit is minimal. I think it's still. I mean, only few people who contributed. Well, thanks to them. I think my firm contributed last year and planning to contribute this year. Every firm should be contributing, but it's also we don't have a voice. That's, for example, you are probably doing the PR for the Revit API. We don't have. Once I think Jeremy Tamek retired, I don't think we have anybody is actually actively on the internet preaching the idea of like Revit API. And
I mean, Gavin before
Gavin
Crumbs,
Nichols,
but now
yeah.
Gavin Nichols. Now
Yeah.
he's also doing. He shifted to C#, but he also like has the work, has the family and stuff. So he also kind of comes to youth and goes over. And I totally understand. I do the same. Like
Totally.
I show up, I disappeared and come back. But now I try to get it more serious.
Totally.
No. But I know what you mean. Like before
Yes.
I started, it was so hard to find information on Revit API, pyRevit. But today, many more people come out. I start finding like kind of new creators. I see new tutorials. I'm like, oh, who is that? Then also AI, super breaking all the barriers of entry.
Yes.
No,
Yeah, and
the community definitely grows very nice. The only thing I personally hate is how Autodesk pretends pyRevit doesn't exist.
yeah,
And I thought so many times that for them, it would be such a great kind of community move. Just give pyRevit one developer. That's it. Like for them, it's not big money. It's gonna the pyRevit community gonna be so happy. Because Jean-Marc mentioned many times that sometimes we just need like C# developer to kind of go in the engine, this kind of higher level code, like because not everyone want to go into like touching the pyRevit engine. It also takes time to understand. I never looked at it, so in code-wise, I have no idea what's going on. I kind of get some ideas here and there, but I think if Autodesk could just give us one developer, like here, just do whatever they need help with. So like even just kind of rogue one, just do yourself what you want.
do pro bono. Do have like a community project.
Yeah, exactly. But pyRevit just pushed aside because I think they don't want to like deal with Python engines, even though they built Python engine for Dynamo, so they have even that. Because now they have this Iron Python 3.6.6 or whatever the latest version. And I think there were some talks to share it with kind of pyRevit community somehow. I'm not sure exactly how it's working, but
I think 2027 they switched to Pythonet. At least when because I did the dev tools for the pyRevit dev tools, I did a bunch of testing the bundles, and I think 2027 they switched away from an Iron Python. But I think it's a blessing that Autodesk doesn't want to intervene in pyRevit and let us do the work, or let everybody do the work. Dynamo was supposed to be an open source project, but it's also pushed to the sides just because it's probably not a revenue generator. It's probably a community project more and more than.
I mean, yeah, they have completely different view on this whole Revit and model. They care about shareholders. They're like like the corporation level, enterprise level. This is completely different. But I think Dynamo is still they don't understand that if there wouldn't be Dynamo, if there wouldn't be Revit API, Revit would fall so long ago because it misses so many basic features. I was so surprised when I started. I remember many people gonna relate when you select one type in Revit and you want to select all instances of that. The SS. It works. You select two types, you couldn't do it for years.
Right.
I was thinking like it's gotta be super complicated. There has to be a lot of code involved. Then I decided to do it. I was still kind of beginner. I was just kind of getting into this whole thing. it took, I don't know, like 20 lines of code. It started working, and I was like, what? Why?
Yes.
And this feature was requested for ages. Like people like, why we can't do it? It's so, because sometimes you want to take 2 types of walls or 2 types of doors, whatever, and select super simple feature. I wrote it right away, and I'm like, this works. I just published to the whole company I worked at. Here's how we do it. I pushed it in code somewhere on the forum. Next year it got implemented. I was like, finally. But it's just like, this is the issue with Revit there, because it's not they're missing a lot of features everybody needs, and they often focus on features that nobody needs. They try to create a lot of hype always and stuff like that, but we just need like fix the issues we already have before adding all this. Like AI assistant, cool. Can we fix something from like 5 years ago first? Like, I think that's what's kind of why pyRevit getting so popular, why Dynamo, why C# plugins getting more popular. Because it gets more accessible. Plus, we finally get to fix these little issues, because they probably like, I don't know, they just kind of, it's too little, not even going to care about it.
I used to go every year and vote for the OGI wish list, the Autodesk User Group Institute, and online. Like they pick the top 15 wish list, and every year nothing gets implemented. So I decided I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna give up on that one.
Even the top feature didn't implement.
A lot of features are not implemented. I can't remember, but it's there's a lot of maybe a lot of them became part of the pyRevit tools. People are still,
like hunt list.
So the firm I work for, they discourage people from using Keynotes because they don't want to deal with the text file. Like this is from Revit 1.0. They didn't really change pretty much the Keynotes.
The Keynotes, you mean?
Yeah. But also we have a lot of gimmicks being introduced, like become the Revit now. It's the accelerated graphics tech preview. I can tell you, this will be a tool that it's the same, and it won't leave the tech preview. Generative design for Revit, that was a gimmick, and I like the time I saw it. It's just.
By the way, I don't get that one. Generative design was a thing before they touched it. Before it they created their own version. People did cool things with Grasshopper, Dynamo.
Yes.
Once they touched it and make it their new feature of whatever release that was, it just died. I was so confused because before it was actual kind of for facade designs and stuff. People were sharing cool stuff. Once they touched it, everybody's like, meh.
So actually, when we saw that, I was an attendee. I wasn't an active member of it, but I was like a regular attendee in San Francisco. We had San Francisco Dynamo user group, and I think it was also started 2015, 2016, and we do like monthly meeting, and it's a meeting with dinner, and we have like a guest speaker. I think Hassan was one of them to introduce Rhino inside Revit 2020, right before the COVID. But we get a lot of people who are really into the Dynamo world joining us. And I think the group of like 2019, they found like this Dynamo going nowhere. Autodesk is not also supporting. And it's also that group, Autodesk wasn't actually stopped sponsoring the Dynamo as a group. So they decided, I think at that point, they rebranded to San Francisco Computational Design Group. Because we thought it's probably let's make it, expand the perspective and have a bigger community than just focus
just broader reach as well.
Yeah. But I think to your point, I think Autodesk not intervening in pyRevit is actually good for pyRevit. And honestly, I think moving to the future, and you had a hint of 2027 new features. I think this is going to be the same pace for the next 10 years. Revit will be a stagnant product just because it's saturated market for them. Most of our architecture firms are already using it.
Yeah, it's so hard to move away.
Yes, right. And I was thinking, because I was offered a BIM manager position 10 years ago by, I told my boss, I don't think Revit is a future. I was wrong. Revit's still there. And he said, what do you mean? He said, I don't see Autodesk is actually taking this product seriously. He said, then what is the Revit killer? I said, I don't know. And I think he asked me a really good question. Right now, there's no Revit killer. But the problem is Revit is not progressing, and you know when things stagnate, it's not gonna be good for the industry.
Yeah.
What I feel like 2027, the new features are clearly it's not their main primary revenue generator. I think their growth perspective is more aligned with Forma, ACC, big data, and even the AI thing is. I would, I think MCP server is, although I think MCP server is a band-aid, MCP server is probably better than having an Autodesk AI, because really you're not Claude or OpenAI. We're actually versed in LLM, and doing a small LLM, you're getting a quality of GPT 3.1 probably at best, and you try to run Revit on that one.
Yeah, I think they still made the MCP server for this AI
Yes.
assistant, because they now released that you can connect Claude somehow and stuff like that. I think the issue, I just had recent podcast, haven't released it yet, who is Jonathan Jacobson. I hope
Yes.
I remember it right.
Waiting for it.
And he actually had a very solid point that instead of making this whole AI assistant and stuff, they should just give us infrastructure, like with Revit API. We don't need them to make all the features. That once they gave us Revit API, we just started making our own plugins, and everybody can customize it.
Right.
And same with this AI thing, it would be so much better if they would just give us proper, it's kind of MCP connection server, how we can modify it, how we add more tools, like, the infrastructure, so we can take it and build our own stuff on top. But instead, they kind of make this half-baked AI assistant. Nobody knows what kind of model it runs. It's not performing well, very limited. We cannot really expand it, at least not yet. And as you mentioned, it's in preview state. So everybody is like, yeah, just wait. With the next update, it's going to be fixed.
Forever.
Yeah, and people already
forever.
probably it's going to be preview forever. Now they have an issue. What did they do across the version? Because it's not supported before, it's supported after. And we already can make MCP servers, even with pyRevit, for all the versions. So it's already kind of So it's weird. But yeah, definitely agree with that one.
I think MCP is also a temporary solution. I think LLMs are working. I think the big players are working in native 3D geometry generation instead of executing code through the API to generate an object. For example, because right now if you think about LLMs are good at text, images, and now videos. And I think soon, very soon,
pretty much images.
Text, images, and some videos. And probably I think coming soon, I think sound will be. I'm pretty sure that OpenAI is doing training on Spotify, like database. And
I mean, it's already pretty solid at sound. It can generate sound and can talk and stuff. So it pretty much text,
I think it will be generating music, like
it already
music.
Does. Not directly from them, but I saw some really cool. You just write a prompt, random one, it makes music. I just played around, even made some pyRevit jingles for fun. I was thinking maybe add something.
I see a lot of YouTubers doing that, yes. But also, I think what's missing, and there's limited data, is training on a 3D objects. I know OpenAI has the point E, I remember, which is training on like a point cloud. So it's actually text to point cloud files. Now, point cloud, I think Meshi also used that, or maybe a related product to generate points to like a prompt to mesh. So, and I have one script that I was playing with. You generate a mesh, you get the WPF panel, you generate a mesh, you get a preview, and you click on it, and it will use Rhino to convert it to an NURBS, and then you bring it as a direct shape and Revit as a family. Like one way of doing like prompt, point clouds, mesh, and then NURBS, and the Revit family, like 6 steps in one script.
Yeah, so many steps.
Right. But I think tools like, probably like Rhino, I think it has the tool, like you can say, hey, create me a Mobius shape, and it will create you a Mobius shape, not instructing code for Rhino to create a Mobius shape. So it will generate this file based on that. And the problem with Revit is not AI ready.
Yeah, I think it was never meant for AI.
It's, for example, you should do a pyRevit, or maybe like you should do a pyRevit award for somebody who can actually use MCP server to create a staircase because it's not exposed by the AI, by the API. There's no Autodesk Revit.db.stair3d, class. It's not there. So if
You
people
sure?
saying
It's actually there.
it's there, stair3d, do you create a stair? Is it possible?
Well, let me just have a look. I just remember in db.architecture there is like stair class.
Is there? I don't know. Maybe there's one, but without a create class.
I never looked at that one. I know people get around that by creating their own families, which is more superb to native anyway. At least that's what we did, because we can control all these notches, perfect connections for the concrete, which the native one fails at.
Yeah, direct shape maybe. But that's the problem is like there's no single tool in the whole Revit ecosystem that's actually creates stairs, ramps, or railing because they're not exposed by the API. And the best feature Autodesk can actually create for the community is actually exposing these API for the people. Like we don't need the new features.
For me, the annoying one is the groups. It's so we cannot do anything with groups pretty much. There are some crazy workarounds which are super risky on our large projects. Because we just have to have like something like with Context Manager, just go into the group, like edit mode, move things around, and it apply like manually. You open the group, do something, close the group. You cannot do this with the API, and this drives me crazy. Because I had so many workflows in mind that then I had to sit in there and think, okay, what's the workaround? How do I go around this? And sometimes it means like kind of letting groups a little bit go or making something like, you have to kind of find this weird workaround sometimes. But that's part of the Revit. Workarounds in Revit, they are always. You're looking for solution. There's no solution, but there is a workaround. Hear me out.
There's a workaround. It goes like, yes, always.
Always.
But again, I think the only thing that's needed, and the problem is now, a lot of the Revit API elements are being migrated to the platform services, like with Forge ID and Forge types.
Yeah.
So actually, this is how I got into the desktop connector. It's through the EF tools. So
Nice.
Our favorite tool, our set of tools is the DWG, where you can open and reload, or like save.
Oh. Yeah.
And I thought like this is a great tool. I'm gonna use it more. First click didn't work because again, our files are on ACC. We don't store files locally even before COVID, and now it's like mandatory practice here in the United States. Most firms, you're not allowed to save any file or any link locally. It's just peace of mind in case
it makes sense.
In case a doomsday scenario, everybody can take laptops to their home and without the need to worry about VPN or network infrastructure, you just go. Autodesk got lucky with that one. Like that COVID was like a godsend gift to Autodesk. So at that point, I realized external references versus external resources, and these are two different API classes. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna take your tools and I'm gonna just create another one. It's like use try accept. If this is accessible as external reference, let's proceed. If it's not, that means it's an external resource. If it's not there, that means it's not available. The link is not available. But then I discovered that step by step, and then at the end, your code is completely different. Like the code, I pretty much replaced your code just to get into the external resources, because at that point you're dealing with Forge type ID instead of like element IDs, and it became a bigger problem than that. So at that point I just decided, okay, I know how to deal with Autodesk desktop connector, and then I think they switched between 16 and version 17, and the way it handles syncing and locking. So I think Hassan did it, or maybe it's actually started by Hassan. It's the ADC library in pyRevit. It enables you to sync, download, lock, open and save, and get paths, get local paths of specific like a element on a file on a desktop connector. Because it's.
Hold on a second. What is this library you mentioned?
It's if you go to pyRevit, pyRevit lib interprobe, and it's called ADC. That one is actually what you need to do if you want to handle files within desktop connector. And the problem with desktop connector, if you think about it, it's like Google Drive. it's like a Dropbox. It will give you what's called like a or like a pseudo path, which says ACC docs / your company and / yeah, that one. And then this great, because you want to transfer it if you want to do operation open the file, you want to transfer this to a local file. So it should be like C users, EF tools, and then you go to like the hub name and the project number. So that became my obsession for a while, and then we started getting a PR, issue. Autodesk switched desktop connector to .NET 10 without telling anybody. And that update, when it showed up, it started crashing Keynote Manager on Rev 2024 and earlier, which are the .NET Framework 4.8. So I had to go there and see what's going on. And this is where the Keynote Manager people started complaining, oh, can you change the interface? Okay, it became like adding desktop connector functionality and then changing the interface. And then people started requesting more and more functions until I reached a level that I can't edit it. This becomes so complex. 30% Revit API, 70% WPF, and external handlers, because we change it to a modless, so you can work on the keynotes without actually, only when you place it, it will generate a transaction. So it's pretty much a floating window outside the Revit API. And now somebody asked, like last week, can I do double click to insert so people have started being really picky about their user requests, and this is my recent obsession with pyRevit now, trying to get the Keynote Manager to be in a slightly better shape.
The thing is that I think also in pyRevit what's cool is that from Autodesk side, I feel like sometimes developers, they don't fully understand how Revit is used, because we also don't use it just straightforward. Sometimes we have our workarounds. And with pyRevit, we often get people who really know, for example, like you mentioned, you work with Keynote, you understand it, and you can speak on the behalf of community how the tool should work. Because sometimes we get tools which are made by developers, not by users, and there's this disconnect. And they think like, oh, that's actually a cool button here. And users like, yeah, we never use this feature at all. We don't need it. We just, there's like some very basic requests. Like I mentioned, like select all types also. All users needed it. Developers probably didn't even know that this issue exists. I don't know.
Right. One thing that I found, like, for example, McNeil, like Rhino, the group is actually very active on the forum, is actually they let the developers engage directly with the customers. There is no customer service and marketing, and they don't have.
It's like more modern teams do that. It's very, very efficient.
And I think this is what we have with the pyRevit group, is we are only maybe 8 people active at the same time, and people start requesting features. Some features are really unrealistic to implement, and others are, and a lot of people came with actually a feature that they want to put it as a part of the pyRevit, like they want to donate their tool to be part of the pyRevit tool. And we welcomed few people did some really phenomenal tools. I think I can't pronounce his name. I don't think it's his name. I don't know. It starts with W, but he added the Measure 3D. It's improvement over the Autodesk Measure 3D. It's way better, and it's more. It gives you the deltas in X, Y, and Z, and it uses the direct context 3D. So it's actually it's really nice interface to use. And I think he did the section box navigator. It's like a floating window when you can have a section box assigned to a floor plan. It keeps going back and forth, left and right. That was amazing tool.
That was amazing. This is like previews of how high it goes, where the cut, where's the bottom. I saw some LinkedIn posts. I was instantly like, that's so good. This is this is the thing that Autodesk developers don't always know our issues. Just think, probably everything works. But we, like, when we use this stupid like cut levels every day for a certain period, we start to hate it so much. And then these kind of tools come from pyRevit power users who are like, okay, enough, I'm just going to do something about it. That's what I love about this whole community, because it's community driven, not like this the kind of users driven, not like fully developer who don't use the product.
Totally. And I think this is going to continue to be the case. I think imagine if like for 10 years there's no major features being added to Revit, how the AEC industry respond. We don't have a product to replace it, and all the new next gen products are either tackling niche products like parking generator, facade generator, space planning. We don't get one that's actually do major project documentation and coordination like what we have with Revit. And that vacuum is ready to be filled by the pyRevit community, I think. That's why I feel like pyRevit is going to be the biggest winner in the next 10 years for especially with AI, because now, even if you're not fully well-rounded developer, you can get away in writing a script that's actually, if you know what you're doing, understand the basics of the API, I think you can, create a solution, solves your problem. And I think this is going to be the case. Now, a lot of people
it slowly gets there. I see more and more people get interested. Also, this AI, it's amazing how fast people can get into that without even understanding what they're doing, but also they don't realize when they hit the limit. Because AI just gives you a lot of things, but sometimes you still need basics, maybe not exactly as much syntax, but just understanding kind of Revit API logic, just Revit logic in general. So you can at least command what to do correctly.
So I want to give also some cheat sheets to the audience here. So I use AI a lot. I used AI mostly as the GitHub Copilot. But I have, because at my work, they gave me the Max account for Claude, and I got also Gemini. And I think the best use of AI, and it's actually, I utilize it a lot in the copy paste. So I added the functionality of Control C, Control V for the output window, which was on the wish list for 5 years. We couldn't resolve it initially because it was it's an HTML in a WPF window, and there's no way to register like Control C, Control V events so you need to go right click and copy the output of that. What I added with I added the trace logger, so it will log my events into a log file, and then I take it and put it into Gemini, and it will tell me where this Control C is actually being triggered. So at the end, the conclusion was actually, let's do it on the system level. It's like in the operating system level, not on the WPF level, not on the HTML level.
No, not
and
on
now
the window,
working.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I
heard this change. It was so annoying. Always, you select the error message, Control C, go back. You paste something previous, and you're like, what? Go back, right click.
So with 6.4, as actually you can Control C, Control V from the output window. But the same thing is actually so WPF. There is a level like creating the interface and adding triggers. That's cool. Getting into like external handlers, that becomes like this is where memory leaks happen. This is where the issues start going, like the .NET crashes. And I found like AI is really great. If something crash, you can just go and take the crash report instead of reporting to Autodesk. Take it and put it in Claude, and it will tell you likely what's the cause. That's actually a really good use for somebody who really gets into the API, like the API development. So I don't think the Revit API can actually, and this is, for example, the block AI that I worked on is actually helping me, because there's a lot of, when I was trying to run it, I tried to figure out the command, like the post command ID or the command post ID from the journal. And actually, AI is actually, instead of scrolling down, you can just take the journal and put it in a Claude and say, hey, can you tell me what command ID is being triggered? So it saves you a lot of time. And logging, definitely, it's probably being able to developing a skill around understanding that things will keep breaking. So let's fix it. It's,
How much do you use? Do you use Claude Code, or you just kind of rely on the Copilot itself, the native one?
I don't use Claude Code just because I tried it. It's just because you don't have enough control. It's just this. It will keep coding in the background for you. Cool if you're not really want to control it, but for me, I prefer to have a chat session so I understand what is going on. Like it's more conversation instead of like Claude Code just doing your files, your extensions in the background, and just putting it right, over there.
You can do both ways.
You can do it, yeah. But I prefer to just use the maybe co-work a little bit more, but I prefer just the chat. But
there is chat feature as well for the Claude Code as well.
Yes.
There's like native interface in IDEs, VS Code, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking.
But most of the work actually I do it's within VS Code, so it's not like I only take it to Claude Code if I need to troubleshoot something.
No, I mean like you can integrate it inside natively in VS Code. You have a separate window like your Copilot. There's exact same window for the Claude Code.
Yeah, I don't think I haven't reached this level of in my development environment.
Okay, yeah, I suggest to give it a try, because from my like full research, I'm now diving deep.
Right.
Claude Code seems to be like the best one at big multi-step tasks,
Right.
because it's not just the Opus level, because you can also use this Opus module in your Copilot, but their agent also seems to do much better work at the moment, and it's really good for this big task where you need to brainstorm, you can plan ahead and so on. So I'm now using that as my main kind of driver, especially for all the tests with AI I do. At least that's the conclusion I came up to, that now also the codecs catching up with Claude, Opus, so there's also like OpenAI users, and both Anthropic can do that. But yeah, they seem to integrate quite nicely now with all IDEs.
I need to take a look at it because I think I have the subscription right now. But it's funny that I still use 4.1 GPT for Copilot just because it's fast. Like I want to fix a syntax of something and just Control I and just say fix it. It will just nearly instant.
Okay.
And because it's a single step, it's definitely I won't rely on this one writing a full function for me. It hallucinates a lot and start switching to Python like a 3.12 and start adding these formatting like the F, like the formatting for
the F string.
string and the debug. So
every rule file contains forget F string exists. just use the method.
Yeah. So I Gemini is good at constructing a function. I think Gemini is probably the best in reading the API docs. Maybe
I think so. Okay.
But I agree, for multi-step process, it's probably Claude. So
because for me, I default to Opus 4.7. I do everything, even little changes. I just give Opus to do everything. It's fast enough for me. I like it because I just want to see how far I can push it. I don't want to make sure that the factor of the model is kind of slowing down things. Plus, sometimes I would rather have one prompt and the best model figure out the rest. Because smaller ones, they sometimes need a few tries. You're like, no, you did it a bit wrong. Opus still fails here and there, but I'm still kind of testing everything. One question I have, since you are on GitHub Copilot, can you also set up like rules files, like agent files, skills files? Is it something part of the Copilot?
I don't think so. Yeah, it's not like the markdown that you do with Claude.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Okay, so
I don't think so, but maybe Claude is managed by my company's IT director. So maybe he can do it on an enterprise level, on the enterprise account. But for me, what I'm getting is just I log in with
so kind of a vanilla version of
my
like
GitHub
AI.
credentials. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I teach others and I want to teach more about AI, I'm really conscious about what I use. Because by now I use PyCharm, which failing so badly at AI game, so I have to leave it. That's what I'm doing. And the conclusion I come to is that it's right now like the best. Again, if you listen in a couple months in the future, it might change. But in general, the VS Code and Cursor, they seem to be like the leaders of the IDE. There are like Cursor, also there's anti-gravity, so on. They're similar to Cursor. But these two kind of the main ones, especially for their kind of agentic workflows. And Cursor, it also has this kind of Cursor rules folders, all this kind of bunch of MD files, and also Claude Code. And in VS Code, I kind of solved it for now. That's what I use. Because I use Claude Code, I can create these Claude files, and I start to notice that it can be much better.
Right.
And the biggest tip I can also, maybe you can try it out. When you talk with Copilot without these files, it's always kind of blank state. Maybe it has some memory about you, but not as detailed and so on. With these files, you can configure certain things and teach it over time. Because, for example, you talk about new topic like how to do, coordinates in Revit API. Quite tricky topic, but once you nail it, it's easy. And with new chats, it's always have to figure it out from the scratch. It goes time, tokens, like output sometimes wrong. But once you do it once, you can just say like, okay, you know what, now go through all the code conversation we just did, create me a skill file, add it there, and for future reference. And it will make a kind of AI tutorial for itself. Not like AI tutorial, but all the important pieces. Here's how coordinates work. Here's version differences. Here's code sample that actually worked. Next time, it just like, oh, let me just reference something. It knows exactly what to do. So this is the future about AI. I also noticed that kind of vanilla AI is great, but once you start training it, it start compounding skill, because it's gonna get more aware about Revit API and specifically to your workflows, your tools and stuff like that. That's why I just skipped Copilot completely, at least for me.
So it's actually, I did return back to skills. I have a couple of skills that's actually, I used it more for troubleshooting. I asked Opus 4.6 at the time to go and clone the pyRevit repo and find all the differences between the legacy loader and the new C# loader. And the reason why we got a lot of functions that work completely the opposite. It's like true false, right? Things but by default. And that really developed, and then I developed this as a skill file. That became is actually, if a bug is there, I can just consult like Claude, like what is going on, and it will tell me. But really, I didn't go into like fully structured development environment with Claude. But I think this is something I need to take a look at it very soon. I think also what is interesting here is you can build skills on sister libraries. For example, I find like pyRevit has the future to expand beyond what's the Revit API. Let's say like other third-party libraries like Topologic Py or like Shapely, like where you can actually doing some graph analysis, like geometric analysis, instead of like just like Revit API and dealing with the elements. And I think because you can clone the repo of these tools and build a skill on it, Claude will be better in integrating these tools into your pyRevit workflow. So you're just
definitely.
Not just going deeper, but it's actually going wider and making association.
Yeah, it becomes more context aware, which is really great. Because it's like before we had to get better outputs in the beginning, we had to actually copy a bunch of codes, paste it in the chat, can analyze, get ready for the next question, and then we kind of got a little bit out of it more. But it's now all these files, I think it's really important not to ignore it. All these MD files, all the Claude rules, these cursor rules, all of this, it's really worth setting it up. I resisted AI for so long. I don't know why. I cannot really explain it, but I just resisted. Maybe because I like kind of coding and I thought it's going to stay more in manual control. Now it seems to move more into agentic workflows. You still need kind of understand what you're doing, but now you can save a lot of time. So I decided it's time to embrace it.
Although I think it's a fun story. I was working on a IO updater, like a hook for the company, which will trigger a specific event when you try to do some work. And Claude told me, because I was stuck in an idea of like, this is, if I cancel it, I got unexpected behavior. And I told like how, to unsubscribe from this event in this condition. I'm trying to unsubscribe, but I couldn't. And AI suggested using idling, like a timer in the background just running, and I said like, no, I don't want this. He said, well, it's just a solution. I don't want to go into that rabbit hole. And I said, no, I want to go into that rabbit hole. So sometimes it's like like flow of water. Sometimes AI also prefer shortcuts, which probably
very often.
not ideal for quality. Code.
When I tested AI assistant, I had really good example where it takes shortcuts.
Yes.
It was a very simple example. I just told it something like, okay, there are like maybe 100 walls or something like that. Go through all of them and modify and expose the ID, right? Just write the comment ID and the number of each element.
Right.
MCP took ages and it started, okay, executing one by one a separate tool. Okay, changing door number 1, door number 2.
You get like
it took ages. I mean, in MCP didn't expose it as a separate transaction, but it looked like, okay, making the batch of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the next batch of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And eventually it reached like 47 or something, and it just gave up. There's like, okay, I did good job. What do you think? Can you continue or something like this, right? It just kind of stopped working, and that then asked me for more or something like this. And this is the thing, like sometimes the AI, when you give it way too much work, it can pause. Agentic workflows seem to get better at that. As long as your token limits are fine, they can keep going, but they still try to pause for a second. Hey, you still there? All good?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something to keep in mind. Yeah.
I tested the MCP like over a year ago, the pyRevit MCP, and it really ate my Claude because I was on a free account. I think it's like after moving a couple of walls, I think I'm out of credits.
Oh yeah. $20 now don't get you far.
No, that's the issue. But for the AI block, I think what really excites me, and I think planning to do it for MCP, at least for firms if they want to implement it, is actually you blocking, instead of blocking the assistant, you blocking the transactions. So right now it's like for example, it will
got it.
It will do an event, and then the event will do a failure processing, and that failure processing will trigger like a forms.alert, like forms alert. It tells you you can't do it without actually contact your BIM administrator. This is what I implemented in the AI block. Still, I think it's a lot of work needs to be done, but I'm planning to expose this into or extend this into the MCP. I just need to figure out the post command ID. I haven't used the Autodesk MCP. I only use the pyRevit one. So
yeah, I think that was the right choice. And I looked at your extension. Pretty good thing that you're doing. I think the only thing is that it covers so much ground. You actually have to go, like new people, like even I, when I went there, I had to figure out what's going on because you have some controls, config files, and so on. Right. And I was like, okay, so it takes time to figure out how it works. So I think maybe you also need to maybe make some light version to get people in.
Yeah.
Because right now it's like, okay, I went in, I was like, okay, what's the password? Because somewhere it asks you for the password. I found it in your GitHub.
The password and the README.
Yeah, that one is fine. Then I was like, okay, where are the config files? Oh, there are config files. How does it work locally? So I had to kind of go a little bit there to figure out how it works. In the end, I just kind of took the base and kind of show, okay, here's how to do the bare minimum just to block it. But yeah, it's a good thing that you're doing. It's just, I think that for people who just open it, it's going to be a bit like, whoa, many things. It's a good thing, but there's like, how to say it? There's like a learning steep curve to start actually using it really well. That's what I just wanted to mention. But really good that you started it. It also made it so much easier to share with others how to block it.
It will be just, put it publicly. People can develop their flavors of it. But I still think, because I was talking to our IT, and I think they're, deleting the add-in is probably the simplest process. But Autodesk, they will push things with access.
No.
I think also IT told us they can block this add-in by name. So even if even future versions of their release, they are just blocked, like by the company's security policy. I'm a bit concerned. Well, not for pyRevit. pyRevit is ready for it, but they are migrating existing Revit versions to .NET 10.
Oh yeah, the Revit 25 and 26, I think.
Yes.
And right during the middle of release, it gets so many people confused. but I think it's because .NET is running out.
Maybe not every plugin developer is ready.
Yeah. I saw that many people reported it's not as bad. Maybe there are some little issues here and there, but in the beginning, everyone a little bit freaked out. I'm like, oh, does it mean, how do we notice changes? How do we know which one to run and stuff? But I think now as people start to test it and see how it works, it's maybe not big of an issue. I hope it won't be, but yeah, it was like very unexpected. But also they just use the latest available version with support because it's the .NET 8, which is expiring support or something in the end of the year. And they just don't want a liability probably.
Right. So, no, I think also the pyRevit people did great when they migrated to .NET Core a couple of years ago. I think it's just a huge investment, the path forward.
Yeah. This is also where some people, because pyRevit was a bit late with the release for the Revit, which was it, 26 I think.
25.
25, yeah. And many people took it as a sign like, oh, we actually depend on developers, and many people start looking more into C# route, and I don't know, I think many people still understood it. Many companies did their own fix in the first weeks, and they could run it internally themselves, because, there are ways to fix it. But I also noticed that even Gavin Nichols, he also switched to C# after that. He saw that, okay, pyRevit because they didn't like the idea that they kind of have to sit and wait for kind of pyRevit to evolve. But now pyRevit kind of is more organized, and I see like changes coming much sooner for new versions and stuff. Because I think that they also noticed that this was a big kind of, not big, but it was kind of hit on the community. But now it's like more important, like, okay, we have to make sure it's compatible.
2026 and 2027, I think, were released 24 hours later. But they're ready. So .NET 10 were implemented in, I think, November of last year. And I think for pyRevit 5 and Revit 2025, it's actually a working version was there around July. So 3 months after the release, actually, the people were but it was so not everything was completely figured out, but it was a moving target. But I think now it's reached the level of stability, and even with the new loader, 2027, I think 4.6 is a very solid build that, ready for the future. And this is actually what we did for our company. So a couple years ago, we are fragmented we have our own tools built in C#, built by a third party company that we keep paying them every year to pretty much updates based on the new Revit API changes. And then we also have a collection of Dynamo scripts that we run to automate few tasks. And we decided to switch all into pyRevit because first, we take the burden of having our scripts up to date within the latest .NET build, and it will be handled by pyRevit. Granted, I'll be participating into that, but it's actually, we don't have to worry about this technical debt. I think technical debt is the Gavin Nichols idea. It's like if you build a tool, you're responsible for maintaining it. And that's why we modified our internal company tools, and now they're all pyRevit based. And speed difference is minimal. It's unperceivable.
You mean between C# and pyRevit or what?
Yeah, it's not that different. I mean, at least for the Revit, it can be as fast as it can. I mean, it's the bottleneck is Revit itself, right?
Yeah,
it's not.
Also, I wonder, since probably you had a discussion in a company, why have you decided to double down on pyRevit instead of C#? Because many companies, they usually start with pyRevit, but eventually when people get better with code, they get more access and more start to take it seriously. Some consider switch to C#. So I wonder what kind of conclusion you came to.
Because we don't have a full-time software developer. And the time if you go C#, you need like full-time dedicated people. Again, I'm a project architect right now, and I probably dedicate 4 hours per week to do all any of the coding work. If I'm slow, if I have like 10 hours some week, I have 20 hours extra. If we're slow, my project is pending or it's in permits. This is where I get into doing more heavy stuff. But my rule of thumb here, if you automate a task that takes 12 hours and you spend 12 hours to automate it, that's a win, because actually you're solving a problem differently, but also you're generating a reusable product that you can solve another problem with no time.
Plus,
So
you also learn on top of that.
plus, yeah, it's learning. So that's the formula, 1-to-1. Now, if it takes you 20 hours to solve a 10-hour task, this becomes a little bit hard to sell. Although it's still valid win. It's a learning, as you said, and also it's probably going to be reusable, but it's also, you need to justify that to the project managers, like, hey, I spend a little bit more time on this, so I can use it. And a lot of project managers, they really care about their project. They don't want to be, bothered about somebody investing in the future of other projects. But so that's my formula, 1-to-1. If you spend, in many cases, if I know this task will take me like 2 hours, I really feel encouraged, like, hey, let me set up a Python file. Let me put a push button here and there, and I'm comfortable to solve it in 2 hours. That's perfect. So that's the reason why we got into pyRevit, because we tried to make it collective so people can write their own. And I think today I saw somebody is doing some form of like space planning tool, and it's clearly a Claude project. So I haven't took a look on it, but I saw a folder said .extension. So somebody's actually knowing what they're doing.
Okay, that's cool.
But it says beta and that person's initial, so it's probably they're still working on it. But that person is also not a software developer. But I mean, getting into this now, being API development becomes more accessible. You don't need to worry about compiling, about DLLs, about setting an add-in file, and it's just a folder structure. I think it's just, that's the point.
I also have a pyRevit starter kit, which literally you just download it, rename 2 folders. You can even leave it as if you don't want. You just need to provide the path where you placed it. That's it. You have extension. Then alt-click, modify anything, remove, add it. It's just so fast to learn. This one, many people don't realize what they realize. No way, it's so simple. Same with me. When I first heard about pyRevit, I was like, I gotta be hard. Then I started looking. I'm like, oh my god, it's so simple. Why? How? What? It gets you sucked in there. Yeah.
I find it now it's much easier than Dynamo itself.
Especially with AI.
Yeah.
Because what you mentioned about the formula, this 1-to-1 ratio, like time spent, time saved. I had the same thing when I started, and this was like one of the biggest levers, what helped me learn. But I was a bit more generous with the time. I was okay to spend twice as much time on save time, because I knew that first of all, I'm learning. Second of all, I use it second time, I'm already even. Third time, I save time, sometimes even more. Like I could justify spending more time, but I had no AI. Now with AI, this 1-to-1 ratio, it's actually you can achieve way more, because AI also do a lot of heavy lifting for you, a lot of thinking, a lot of debugging, which I had to do manually. So 2-to-1 actually sounds like now more kind of a little bit, how to say it, not optimistic I would say, because with AI it just speeds you up literally 10 times. I'm not kidding about that one. So yeah, it's definitely something people need to just think about, like just give it a try, see if you can take your 10-hour task and do it even in 10 hours with code. Sure, in the worst case you would have to pause it and go do it manually, but sometimes it's really worth giving this little risk if time of the project obviously allows and deadlines. Because next time you're going to save less time, you're also going to get more confident, you're going to learn, each tool going to motivate you to do something more. And yeah, it's really good kind of framework to implement.
I think so. I had this thought. So you mentioned the pyRevit starter kit, but also my favorite product that you did is actually the filtered element collector handbook. That thing is it's probably the best tool that actually explains filter element collector, and the especially the quick filters, because I think for a lot of people sometimes achieving quick filters is it just speeds up your product, and I think it's probably you can take it and build a Claude skill based on that, so it becomes like because I think in many cases I saw AI really prefers the slow filters just because it's just it's easier to go just filter element, and filter element collector is probably used in every script, so it's probably the most important API part of it. But I think quick filters, identifying preferring quick filters is definitely better in filtering objects.
The thing is, it's a bit more technical, maybe not exact for the pod, but if people wonder about quick and slow filters, it's not really slow as it sounds. It just means that it needs more memory of the elements. Because quick element, for example, you have a wall. For the quick element, it just looks at the basics. The ID, category, some other things which can be kind of accessed without opening the element. Slow filter, you just have to open the element in the memory. That's why it's called slow. Even though time-wise, you won't notice a difference. Sometimes it's like 0.0001 second, even though they do different things as well, because they kind of focus on different information. I just want to throw it out there because people always think slow filters is something bad. It just means that it focuses on more information, right? Therefore, it needs more to get more out of the.
Well, Andrea from the pyRevit cousin is really big on this. Like every CPU cycle matters. So when you review a code, it's just like if you have a duplicate, functions needs to be small and precise structure of it. But also because he does that, every day, so he's very efficient and.
It's in the software developers who are like more into software. Right. They have so many lessons on the how to structure your code, these own notations, how to understand the scale of the code, and so on. And I heard stories when people spend a lot of time fixing something that changes maybe 0.1 second. And on large like SaaS companies like Facebook, like Meta, all of this, it makes sense. We have like billions of users. But for the office with 10 people, it doesn't matter. Like we can wait 5 seconds. It's okay.
I think so.
But for pyRevit,
it's like you're waiting. So people doesn't complain about it, but pyRevit is actually sometimes load. It's around 1 minute if you go to the apps. We're trying to slow to make it faster with the new loader. We're also trying to. This is also probably to your audience. If you're putting metadata in your inside your script, we're planning to deprecate that one. So
no,
but we're providing. we're discussing this because it actually takes a few loading time for a few seconds loading time, and we think it to switch to like all bundle all the bundle files.
I see.
But we're providing a script for people. It's actually you run it on your extension. It will generate the bundle files and transfer the metadata to.
Yeah, it shouldn't be hard. I'm just so used to. I think Jean-Marc mentioned before that I should switch to bundle and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna hold to my code because I just don't like having extra file just for these basics. I don't mind having like title and all of that. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't know you like the team trying to depreciate this feature.
No. It will be pyRevit 7.1 maybe. It's like maybe a year down the line, but. The idea is, so we switched to C# for two reasons. First, it's becoming more, future-proof or like up-to-date, and I think that's a really good vision from Jean-Marc. And also, I think speed. Although I really got excited first when the first alpha showed up, it was like 60% faster, and I thought like, oh, so C# is actually way faster.
You mean to load pyRevit extension, right?
Yes. Then I didn't realize that it's actually faster because it's skipping most of the things. It's not loading any of the critical things. Doesn't load icons properly. So it wasn't faster because it's faster. It's faster because it's not fully functional yet. Once we start adding functionality and make it on par with the legacy loader, it became same speed. And in many cases, there's a bug with the with telemetry server that can push that to telemetry server entry in the pyRevit config. It will push it by another, I think I had pyRevit config.ini 40 megabytes. And that really put my pyRevit loading time to like 3 minutes. And they discovered there's a bug. There's a PR going on,
How did you make it 40 megabytes? That's a lot of text.
If you go to pyRevit config.ini and try to read, you'll see some double spacing, like JSON double spacing on the telemetry server entries. That's a bug that's we are fixing.
Hmm.
So I think some people need to test it, and then we can. So it keeps inflating until it becomes really big, and it slows down. There's also a few bugs that we solved, and I think now C# loader is like 10% faster than the legacy,
Okay.
which makes sense, but it's not gonna be like instant, like Guardian, like 1 second. It will be like 20-30 seconds to load. But if you compare this to Revit loading, and opening a project will take you 20 minutes, it's probably nothing that's being noticeable.
Yeah, it's fine. Some people complain like how it takes 40 seconds to open it, but yeah, it saves hours later. So,
Depends on how much toolbars do you have also.
of course, yeah. Yeah, there was
uh,
some.
I used to download every extension, but then I decided maybe I'll keep it to 2.
Yeah, I see. No, it's interesting to hear from you as well about development, all this kind of behind the scenes, what's going on. I want to get developers as well, like Roman Golev, some others.
You should get
Here
them,
in the-
yes.
Yeah, I'm slowly getting into this podcast. I don't even know how I find my guests now. I'm just like, who? I just saw you popping up on LinkedIn. I'm like, I should get you on the pod.
I'm not very active. I'm slightly. I think I'm more active in. This is what I'm slightly. You can tell. With 20 years of Revit, I'm getting older. My social media is becoming pretty much the GitHub, and you're slowly moving from one community to another. And I'm really happy that my community is only like 85 people. But with LinkedIn, sometimes you need to do announcements related to the works being done, and that's
Yeah, to
probably
keep others in the loop. Yeah, for me, I'm just trying to get a lot of pyRevit developers to share their tools, share how they use it, because, well, it's pretty much pyRevit podcast. That's what I do. For now, it's just kind of randomly, casually. I'm going to get Jeremy Tamek on the show. He already agreed.
Oh, nice.
Gavin is coming again to talk about his C# switch, because I think it's going to be interesting to hear. Because he's like making like full, first he's like super like Dynamo user, then he's like super pyRevit, and then now he's switching to C#. I see him getting more into software developer kind of mode. Goes in much deeper, these finicky topics, like.
Right.
So it'll be interesting.
Once I get into pyRevit, I have every video from Gavin Nichols, the C# journey. I'm gonna put it in my watch list.
Next
I
to
know
that
that C#
AU presentation we started with, right?
I think I see the benefits of C#. You don't have to deal with lists. But I'll take a look at it. Maybe I don't know. I think both languages are. I feel like Python is more home for me.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing about C# and Python. Many people think that it's either one. It's kind of one is better than the other, but I think there are just two camps. I, for example, not planning to go to C#. I understand the syntax. I can make like in a weekend, start making tools. And give me a month, I'm going to be pretty decent at that.
Totally.
Of course, there are different things I would have to relearn, but I understand OOP, I understand syntax, because I just translated so much C# into Python manually that I just learned C# as a result of that. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea. Python, I'm just all in Python. I even remade the whole Revit API documentation website using Python, Django. It's amazing. People say Django slow. I don't care. It's fast for me. Actually, you want me to quickly show you? Because I'm making a huge update. Maybe I share on the pod and with you. And you can roast it a little, or maybe just let me see if... Yeah, I think it's running. I just need to share. I think it's going to be cool. Can you see it?
It's loading. Yeah, let me just make the screen slightly larger.
I don't know.
Okay, sounds good. Oh, this is
So,
localhost. Okay.
Yeah, it's localhost. It haven't pushed. I can push it quickly, but I'm not finished. So this is what people see at Revit.com right now. This is the next one.
This is my go-to. I switched, from Revit API docs to your website. This one, I find it's better search, more visually appealing. So
yeah,
I see how I can filter by. Yeah.
The difference is I'm just gonna go. This is from Nonica Creator. Because most of them, they take the original kind of the layout of these HTMLs. This is what we get, and this is all accessible.
Right.
I kind of hated it. It's fine. We got used to that. But the thing is here, I parsed all of it, got all the information out and rebuilt HTML. And this was the kind of first iteration, worked pretty good.
Yeah.
But now I'm on the second one here. So because now I finally pushed it not in like kind of cold files, it's all in database. Now I have full control of everything. It's going to be similar, but I'm adding more and more features. For example, now it's also, I can look and say, okay, what each method's going to return and stuff like that. I can also mark here, for example, that one is native. You can see no inherited. All the graded ones, they inherited from somewhere. I'm also decided finally make a community snippets. So now I'm going to get to that. Yeah, people were asking for that one. So the comments also, for some reason here it broke. I need to look into that. So now I'm kind of joining two. So first of all, it's going to be better. Also, you can open multiple pages. I just went all in. Like since Cloud Code, I decided, let's see how far I can push this. And I could push it really far. The search here is super snappy. I can even show you things that's not possible by default. So it's just kind of good to run down what's coming. So I can see, for example, what is obsolete in that version. These are all obsolete items. Okay, I can go through, I can get better understanding what changed. Later, I might do the full page breakdowns between the versions. Because now I already have this, for example, something changed here, obsolete status, something changed here, and it's missing here. So now I'm going all in into that. Like I want to make a really good place. I can even search, let's say, view. I'm going to search for inheritance. And there are like a lot more things, but now it just looks at this box here and sees, is there like view? For example, if I go to, I don't know, view 3D, obviously it's based on the view. If I'm going to go to, I don't know, I think render node, yeah. You see there's like view node, so it's not, you can also make it, I think, precise. But the thing that I'm really, really proud of now, because I decided, can I add gamification? And I actually managed to pull this off. So now I'm making profiles. I'm making like all this, like I decided still from Git this feature like for activity, shared snippets, shared comments, everything. So I think it's going to be also like achievements. It's so fun to play around with that one. So I don't know how far I'm going to push it, but now I'm going to make a little bit social place for Revit API developers. 100% overkill for documentation, but I think it's fun. And also a place to share snippets. I think that one would be awesome because I've heard it so many times. And another thing is that once you share, for example, you can share here, you can write some description if you want to, you can comment on that. But what I really, really wanted to do is link to pages. Because oftentimes when you explore documentation, I heard it so many times, people want to leave their own stuff in the docs. And now we will be able to do that. Because this will be just community snippets, whatever you want, right? Because this syntax, in this case, it's useless. But now we will be able to kind of add more into that. So your code snippets, your thoughts and stuff. I don't know how far I'm going to push it, but I'm pushing it already beyond what anyone asked for.
This is really helpful, especially for people using AI, because now even AI, if hallucinate, you have a code snippet that is done by somebody else, and you can use it to pretty much provide rails to that AI to.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's a huge step forward for the API.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I don't know how people are going to react to that in terms of do they really need it, but I think there are certain few who will just absolutely love this thing. So I hope it's not going to break as much, but I will just fix here and there things. Overall, also the leaderboards, because I think if we make it like more community driven, people are more motivated to share. They're going to like, oh, if I share, I'm going to level up. I can also like others and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I'm still kind of playing around, see how far and I can push it and so on. But so far, I love the idea that maybe also it can turn into marketplace because people sometimes look for Revit API developers. I can add here page something people can put themselves out.
Yep.
Yeah, if you have any suggestions of what you've been missing from docs in general, would love to hear that.
There actually, I don't miss anything. I see the examples you already implemented. Although I didn't use them that much, I think there's the API docs.co, the older website, had some examples, but I didn't really bother with them a lot.
Oh yeah, scrape the GitHub. It's not always perfect, but overall, yeah, it was also good to. It's often great to grab some examples. I think later I'm gonna just scrape GitHub and try to just kind of either take examples or just full working tools relate to some places. So, we have a lot of reference. So while Revit API is mostly C# oriented, I think this docs is going to be Python oriented most. I have a lot of plans for that. Yeah, so that's just something I want to share. I thought it's going to be a nice thing to share on the pod as well, to show people what's coming.
Yeah, of course. That's another. Since pyRevit, I think my excitement is consistent with Revit now. It's always, you get excited a year and then you lose it the next year. But I think this one is, community projects is.
Yeah. pyRevit also made me so much more excited about Revit in general. Because I started getting, once you get to a certain point where you get really good at Revit, you start to encounter so many things that needs fixing, needs solution. There are always workarounds. At a certain point, you just get tired of all of that. You're like, come on again. You already know when you have a problem, it's going to be a workaround, not a solution.
Right. And I don't know if you saw, there's a few things coming to pyRevit as well when it comes to the UI. I see that the split button is being implemented, but I think there is the combox button, and I think there is a checkbox button, and it reflects the new ribbon updates in the latest Revit versions. I think there's one on the forum. Somebody did the combox button.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I saw it somewhere. Not here. Where was it? Maybe in issues.
I think it's probably in this. 6.4. I think it's probably being added.
Oops.
Yeah.
UI. Is there like UI?
If you scroll down a little bit, I think it's.
I saw somewhere locality. Yeah, I saw some changes. Also, I think we need to document that. I'm thinking that maybe in the future just go through all of that and kind of show step by step what's going on. But I just need to also myself track what's happening, because I was on like 5 versions behind. Because when I do tutorials, I like to stay a little bit. I had times, I don't know, pyRevit never gave me issues updating, but I just have the habit to not update while everything works. And it comes mostly from video editing software. Every time I update, I have to spend like a few weekends fixing some stuff and stuff like that. So I'm always afraid to update stuff because of recordings. But yeah, I think I need to get back into that. Because there are many things that I've never heard of. I just hear from people here and there, just like, oh, what? You can change the background now? Oh, oh, interesting. And stuff like that. So I miss a lot of updates. And I think this is pretty much the best place to get it. Just go straight to GitHub, go through and read it. But it's also, everything is text. It's not always easy to go and read.
Yeah. Another thing that I'm planning to do is actually looking forward is I still think there is, AI can write fancy WPF, but I think for a quick prototype, most of my tools actually use FlexForm. And what I'm missing with the FlexForm is a radio button. I saw somebody added on a sample script that they actually, instead of adding it to the FlexForm, they added a WPF radio button to it. But I'm planning to add a slider, and if you want to adjust like an integer, a number with a slider, I think
I had it somewhere.
It shouldn't be that hard, and I know where to steal the code from. I think the Dynamo data shapes, similar to FlexForm. It's the WPF tools for building
for UI. Dynamo, right?
Yeah, so I think I can. I think I remember I saw a slider there. I just go there and take the function.
There is an element, some kind of slider in VPF. It's not hard to have to kind of set the updater. I did it somewhere. I definitely have a tool with some kind of slider just for fun. Right. But I don't think my
code should WPF is very easy. Yeah, I just need to put it there.
No, it's still not easy, but it's a unique thing, this VPF.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are almost 2 hours in. I think we need to wrap it up. So I later don't regret editing. It was amazing having you on the show. Just one thing I like to ask in the end, kind of all guests, also their kind of number one advice to beginners.
Right.
So somebody who is just getting into pyRevit, maybe just heard about pyRevit, what would you say?
I think they just need to do it first thing, and also don't do my mistakes that I encourage people to join your pyRevit challenge just because first you get intense focus and actually learning by doing instead of actually waiting and binge watching, because I still have you started this episode, I had the Revit API workshop from AU 2009, and it's still there, not being implemented. So maybe if I paid money for it, I should have attended and learned it. You know, free lunch is not always good lunch. So I think they just need to lean in and just get into there and
Yeah, just make the
be
first
part
step,
of it.
right?
Yeah. Or
Yeah, that's a good one.
just jump into it. And I think it's
Yeah.
just like if again it just took one you just create one button, maybe with start with the starting kit, and I think the rest will be history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the every next tools get so much better and easier to do.
And some people told me that what if why if I learn this and Autodesk decide to pull the plug on Revit? If Autodesk pull the plug in Revit, your problem will be much worse than actually learning Revit API or not. At that point, probably firms will lose their entire archive, of their
Oh, yeah.
projects. Also, I think it's not going to happen because they need to provide product out. And also, I was thinking yesterday, if Autodesk do AI, does it mean that if the AI needs to go and upgrade every model to the latest Revit version, which will take hours of compute time? I feel like it's going to be a rough moment, but I think it's just the people who are willing to learn are going to be the winners here.
That sounds
A lot
good.
of uncertainties, but definitely. And for people who said Forma will replace Revit in 2023. So 3 years ago, people told me in 5 years there'll be no Autodesk desktop applications because everybody is going to switch to Forma. Good luck. I don't think it's gonna happen.
I think it's their dream, but I don't know going there. Because once they make the switch, people start considering options as well. Yeah, I don't know. I also don't believe Revit is going to disappear. As much as everyone wants Revit killer and Revit to just die out, it's a big money maker. It just holds the title of most used BIM software. It's here to stay for a long time. I don't know what's going to happen with it. Yeah.
Also, the only reason why I think ACC, like a Forma, like a document management, holds advantage over the other competitors is just because it natively works with Revit.
Yeah, compatibility.
Otherwise, people will jump to Procore, Box, Dropbox easily because I know for sure we tried to utilize like a Dropbox initially for syncing central Revit files. That was like 2017, and that didn't work. It's not doesn't have the native like the unified database that Autodesk offers with ACC. So if you lose Revit, I think you'll lose the cloud game as well.
Yeah, they kind of forced it on users as well. There are not many alternatives, and if there are, well, you're losing something here or there. Yeah, well, the good point is like Python skill here to stay. I don't know, like I love Python is definitely not moving anywhere. It's just going forward, especially with AI.
What I learned from Python, from Python through Dynamo and Grasshopper is actually easily transferable to pyRevit and also easily transferable to other applications.
Yeah, definitely. Funny enough that people still hate Python on being inefficient, slow and stuff in comparison to other languages. But funny enough, the whole AI frameworks, the most popular frameworks, they're all built on Python.
Yeah, I think Cloud runs Python code when executing, right?
I think then
Or
I don't know. I know that
well,
all these kind of main kind of frameworks for AI, they are in Python, which
yeah,
is I was always kind of surprised about that. But I think they still certain parts still going to be rewritten in C++, where efficiency matters in this kind of stuff. But for
yeah,
AI
memory
like
management.
training and stuff, Python seems to be the king, which I really really love to hear.
It is. It is definitely a growing language. It's actually my first interaction with Python was with Maya in 2008 when they released. Maya had like a scripting language called MEL, Maya Embedded Language, and suddenly they added Python, and everybody was excited. I didn't really get it that time, but it's actually when you start doing like for loops, while loops, conditional statements, and you start doing
Hmm.
like functions. This is definitely a step forward from being just a random scripting language, expression, into
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
a
Yeah,
full
once you move
language.
out of software, the skill is kind of gone. But
Yeah.
Python, it just stays like you can do anything. I even edited videos with Python when I was just like playing around, see what I can do.
I saw your videos about the dark theme colors
Oh
with
yeah,
Python. Yeah, that was a cool video.
yeah,
Especially a
yeah,
lot of people who are really because I think the dark theme was introduced in 2024.
something like that.
Before
Yeah,
that, if you have a toolbar before that, you probably need to recreate your icons and having that script that's actually
yeah.
generate the dark theme icons is cool.
Now I decided I just gonna take colored icons from default, so they both work in light and dark theme. Because
Right.
that one worked, but it becomes I don't know a little bit too flat. You know, just single color, maybe two colors. It's just my initial icons were this kind of just black and white. Now I
Right.
like to like in like pyRevit challenge, for example, I have this like colored one for fun, and I don't care if it changes. Like it's red and white, red and dark, same red.
I saw somebody's toolbar on LinkedIn where it's actually animated
Hmm.
GIF, animated GIF.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
Nonica has this thing as well. I think at least
okay,
that's where I first saw. I'm like, oh, you can put GIFs there somehow,
I don't think
but
it's exposed by the pyRevit API, but
not yet.
not yet. I I think we
Until
have
Q.
bigger problems than animated GIFs.
Yeah, yeah, I
We have
think so.
bigger problems to solve.
Yeah, it's probably low. It adds to the load time as well, so not the best thing to focus on. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think you just wrap it up here. So thank you coming on the show, Ty. So it was really good
Thank you.
talk. You shared a lot about Pirate and just your thoughts in general, where it's moving. Really, I appreciate you joining here.
Likewise.
Could you share your social links where people can find you? Which, if you want people to contact you, anything like so, just
Right.
do your own plug, please.
LinkedIn is probably the easiest way to find my name.
Hmm.
Um, and
I'm gonna.
I talk to everybody. Yes. Anything related to PyRevit, just go. You'll find me on the GitHub. You can mention me and into any issue if you have or any questions. Now, issues is not you don't need to go to GitHub to only complain about an issue. You can also go and suggest new features, and also you can offer help if you want. Like anybody can just go and go there and be part of it. Um, yeah. LinkedIn and I had a website. I don't maintain it. I just used it for old design competitions that I stopped doing it. I think I used to have a lot of time before the kids, so I don't do it now. And I think it's yeah. And if you're in San Francisco, just text me and we'll meet over there.
Very nice. I'm gonna leave all the links below. You can send me on LinkedIn or somewhere. I'm just gonna paste all the links you want to like website, GitHub, and stuff, so people can actually find you and chat with you if they want to. And also a quick question to the audience. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and just let me know in the comments who else I should bring on the podcast. Maybe you have some expert in mind, or maybe even topic, right? If you don't know the person, just let me know what we should explore next. Maybe some MEP, PyRevit users, maybe structure. I don't know. Just let me know. I'm going to find somebody to come in and talk about this. And as usually, thank you for joining and happy coding.